Ready Check Radio.
Stand by as we get ready to serve up all your news this week in the world of gaming. Welcome to Gaming Gumbo. What's up, Internet? Welcome to Gaming Gumbo, Ready Check Radio's weekly gaming wrap-up where we talk about anything in the world of gaming we damn well please. Not like those other shows, very specific to a company, to a game, whatever. This one, we talk about... I just wish there was gaming news to talk about this week, though. It's kind of a slow week for our premiere show here. Our third of planned launch shows here on Ready Check Radio. Finally going live, and, you know, I think we kind of picked the wrong week. There's just not a lot to talk about. So I guess if you're listening on Spotify, head on over to Ready Check Radio, RAIDEO.com. If you're watching on YouTube, come on over there. We're live Saturday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. Just go to the .com, and all the socials are very nice and easy and pretty in the upper right-hand corner. Follow, share. Now we're really underway. Third show live. All of our streamers have streamed at least once. We've got some new streamers coming. Lots of good stuff. And, I'll introduce my hosts, even though we don't have a lot to talk about. Hosts on this show, probably expect them to rotate in and out a little more than the other two shows, since this is, everybody from the internet is basically welcome on this show. If you've got something to talk about gaming-wise, joining me on this premiere episode number 1, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, and I'm ready. I got takes that are so smoking hot, you'll think they're an Xbox One Series X. Xbox Series X. I put the 1 in there again.
You put the 1 in there.
It's so confusing. But it was a joke about smoking, and I just screwed all that.
Oh, you just foobarred the whole damn thing.
I had it all, and I just... Thank you.
Yeah.
I deserve that.
Yeah, we'll give you one of those. Jason, my co-hosts on... the free-to-play cast over on MMO Bomb. Thank you so much for coming and doing this show as well.
Yeah,
I steal a lot of your time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, joining us, Mr. Yod. How are you, Yod?
Hello.
Yod, if you don't know, Yod, and I've said this many times, but this is now putting a face to many, to the name that I've mentioned on stream quite a few times, does all the art here on Ready Check Radio. Now, to be fair, he is commissioned, and he's taken care of on that front as an artist. I would never ask him to do anything for free, but just like all the overlays you see for all of our shows, all of the fun stuff that you see us doing graphically, that's all done by Yod. And as I'm sure everybody can see, you got a lovely little studio to do that in.
I do, yes. My setup here is not too shabby. Keep it going as well as I can. But yeah, I do play games occasionally when, I'm not working on stuff.
when I don't have you drawing shit.
Right.
But no, thank you so much. Obviously, the artwork is massively appreciated. Looks beautiful, gives us nice branding across everything. Although I will say, so Yod does the graphical art, and then on most things, I'll do the video portion. So like the Ready Check Radio animation that goes off at the beginning of all of our shows and some of our streams, he did the logo artwork, and then I do the video. Now, on that note, he did the animation for like the intro you saw today, the loading screen and the stuff like that. But what tends to happen is I'll send Yod concept, he'll draw it, it comes back, love it, let's change this or this, usually little things. And then I'll make a video of it. He'll get where I'm going with it, suggest 9 things. My daughter was helping me with one of, I forget which one it was, and we sent it back, and he had given me some, well, what if we could do this or do this a little bit differently? I see what you're doing here. Do you know how to do this? Can we do this in Vegas? Do you know how to do it? Okay, fine. Let's try that. And I get it back, and my daughter's like, oh my God, I thought it looked good already. Then we go and we implement whatever Yod said. And even if it's something really small, she goes, God, Damn, that does look better. I mean, that just does look better. So we definitely tap into the artist's eyes there. So, but very much appreciated.
Little tweak here and there. It's nothing big.
Yeah,
I mean,
some of them are big, but some of them are really little. And I'm like, why is he at? Oh, that looks so much better. You just offset something by like 8 points. God, that looks a lot better.
right. You don't want things centered all the time. You
Yeah.
gotta-
Yeah, you don't want things centered all the time.
Like Jason's head. All right, gentlemen, I guess we should get down to talking about gaming here so that we're not here all night. Joking aside, it has actually been a very, very busy week, as I'm sure most of you gaming fans know in the world of gaming.
Something was released, wasn't it? Something about 9 pounds each.
There was a little something released. And to be fair here, so that we're not showing favoritism, we will cover these items in the order that they were released, just to make this easier.
Right.
You know,
right.
we're not showing.
Cast listed in order of appearance.
Yeah, exactly. In order of appearance. So I guess we should start then using that logic with the Xbox Series X or Series S. There is no
refrigerator.
Yeah, there is no one in this name. That was the old ones, and you can't refer to the
two of
original
them, not one of
Xbox
them.
as the Xbox
Two of
One because that was just Xbox. Horrible naming conventions aside.
Oh god.
This beast of a system did launch on Tuesday. We did a full unbox and everything. You can check that out in the video on demand below if you missed that. So initial first impressions, I should ask, are you an Xbox Series X person or S person? Now remember, the S is the cheaper version. The X coming in at $500, the S coming in at $300, but giving you, not basically cut out the 4K portion, which maybe you view it as a nice compromise for people that aren't interested in 4K, saving a couple bucks, not buying things that they're not going to use. Maybe you think it's, well, why should I buy that if I could get an Xbox One X or an Xbox One cheaper and I'm just missing out on some games, which is another topic we'll talk about in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
That
would be my stance.
That would be your stance on that?
Yes, that would be my stance. Why, if they're gonna hack and slash the internals anyways, because it is a different machine.
Yeah.
Than the
It looks like
X's.
the speaker at a fast food place.
Right. It's the McDonald's speaker as opposed to the refrigerator. And if you're gonna get the low grade parts anyways, why don't you just get the high grade previous generation? But I'm also a PS4 guy, so.
But Jason, I think it does come down to, like, if you take that mentality, it comes down to titles then, doesn't it? And quite frankly, particularly for the launch window, that's where Xbox, I think, is losing the battle right now. If you want to call them console wars, fine, go ahead. I don't care. I don't really subscribe to that. But as far as the launch window, I think the Xbox Series S at a bit of a disadvantage without some exclusive big name titles to help carry that for exactly what the reasons Yod said. Why not just buy the cheaper one from the last generation if it's going to do just about the same thing? And I don't really have a lot of exclusive titles to take advantage of right now.
Yeah. First of all, I haven't bought a console since Bill Clinton was president. That's the last time I got one. I'm a little out of date and everything. Yeah, I know. And I never bought an Xbox. I was only a PlayStation guy. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm a little biased, but yeah. This is just that sort of thing that you talk about. It's not making me want, even though I haven't, I don't have a Xbox One X or whatever the hell it's called. I don't feel the need to get one right now because, like you said, there isn't a whole lot there that's going to be that new and innovative and interesting. We have a PS4 here downstairs with me, and I've got that. So, what really is there to make me want to get an Xbox? And maybe they even realize that a little bit. And maybe that's why they have kind of the cheaper version that you can get if you're just if you're like me, if you've never gotten an Xbox or you're kind of on the fence, maybe you get that kind of cheaper one to just sort of try it out, get a little trial run on it. Maybe that was their plan.
But I mean, in that
so
in that
you're
case,
calling Microsoft then a drug dealer. They're going to give you a little taste.
A $300 taste.
The little taste is discounted, but then you got to pay regular rates after that. Go ahead, Yod. I'm sorry.
I mean, in that case, why not buy the what is it, Series 1X or whatever it is?
The Xbox
the
One
XOX.
X.
Yeah, 1X, the XOX as they call it.
Xbox, Xbone.
Xbone.
Yeah, the X Bone. Yeah, so why not get that version? It'll be cheaper. The price is gonna drop because the two new ones come into play.
Yep.
So the stores are gonna want to get rid of the last gen. It's about the same specs as the S. Um, and I mean, personally, we had the 360, the 360 when the wife first moved in with me and stuff like that. She brought the 360. I didn't have a console at the time. My previous gen console was a PS2, so um, so I did play on Xbox for a little while. Then when the next gen came out, we went for the PS4 instead of the Xbox One because of specs. And at this point in time, the way game systems are, I'd say it's more whichever architecture you bought into, that's where your games are. So I don't
It
know.
does have the advantage hardware wise of the SSD though.
Right,
You know,
right.
it is going to
and I
run
did see that.
faster. It is going to load faster. It's going to have a bit of a higher frame rates, even though it's only pumping 1080, right? Even though it's not
Right.
breaking that barrier. There
Was it
there are
Bloodstained you were playing?
benefits, but my question I think is a little broader: is if are those benefits having a faster performance via the hard drive or for the CPU itself? Are they kind of offset by the lack of, well, there's really no graphical difference that I'm going to get here except a better frame rate and faster loading times. And I don't have Xbox Series X specific titles to really worry about now that I couldn't play on the Xbox One or Xbox One X. I think that's kind of where I was going with this. Not to totally shortchange the system and say it's not an upgrade at all.
No. Personally, I think the One X, yeah, right. No,
That was
the
the previous thing.
yeah, Series X. God, these freaking. But yeah, the Series X, the frame rate and all that's the speed of it is impressive because you were playing what Bloodstained the other night on it.
Yeah.
Where you were going back and forth into rooms and it was like instantaneous. The other room didn't even load.
Yeah.
You didn't even have time to read the tips and the loading screens.
Yeah.
It's very, the speed is impressive. It is very impressive speed. Necessary though, I don't really know if it is necessary for enjoyment.
Well, we'll save my next question. Well, Jason, I'm going to take my next question, go to you first, and you and I first. We'll give our answers. We'll save the artist for last. The artist has got to be last on this one so that he doesn't taint our opinions here. Form factor for a lot of people is a very important thing when it comes to the new consoles. Anytime a new generation is launched. I remember when PS3 was first unveiled and it had the famous boomerang controller, that got vetoed real quick, and all of a sudden, we had a new version of the DualShock for the PS3. But we have the Xbox Series X, which you can see on the table behind me here. Right there.
Fridge.
Yeah, basically a big-ass fridge. And then we've got the Series S, which, like I said, looks like a speaker at a fast food joint. Do either of these do it for you, form factor? Do you like one over the other? Are they just totally not in your wheelhouse? And do you even care about that yourself when you buy a console?
I'm glad you asked that third question because I really don't. Like, I know I have heard a lot of people talk about that. We'll get into that with the other thing too, the ice cream sandwich or whatever. But that doesn't really bother me, the way the console looks. Now, when you're talking about the controller, that's something you have to be able to hold and be able to manipulate and so forth. So I get the form of that being important, and whether it's the form of how it feels or how big your hands have to be to hit the buttons or how the buttons feel. That I get because you got to work with that with your hands a lot more. But the actual console itself doesn't really bother me the way it looks. Although I was not thinking of McDonald's speaker until you brought it up, and now I can't get that out of my
now
head.
you can't unsee it. Yeah, it's a white box with a big black circle on the side of it.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with you on this one. I really don't care how the systems look. I'm not a huge aesthetic. I do appreciate when I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. That's going to look great on the entertainment stand. But it's not a deciding factor ever for me on, well, you know what, I'm going to go with this one over this one, or I'm going to wait till the next models. I do kind of agree with Zach a little bit here. Zach probably will appear on the show at some point, I'm sure, as I hit him up for a favor. I do kind of agree with Zach. They are a bit like a blind date, right? When your friend is like, I have a friend for you. They're perfect. Really? What do they look like? Well, they have a great personality. There is a lot more on the inside here. They're very beautiful on the inside. They might be not that great on the outside. Now, that said, I do prefer the Series X. I wouldn't call it sleek. It isn't. It's a brick. It's a black cinder block. There's really no artistic merit to the machine itself, I don't think, besides some subtle, like, nice touches where the inside of the top is green. You know, just some whatever, a little splash of color for this black cinder block. But I do like that better than the speaker. Oh, by the way, stop blowing vape in your systems. For God's sakes. Like, if you couldn't watch that video and tell, not to say that somebody somewhere hasn't set one of these on fire at some point, I'm sure it'll happen, but if you couldn't watch those videos and tell, wait a minute, there is a huge puff of thick smoke for 8 seconds and then nothing, that is not the way electronics burn.
Trust me, I know. We had a computer catch fire here a couple of years ago.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Jeez.
I was like, Mike, sorry, I was off Discord for a while. Someone's computer caught fire. I had to switch on.
What I have seen that I probably will do on a stream at some point is put it vertically and set a ping pong ball on top of that vent. Now,
yeah, I've seen that.
I probably will do that at some point. So artistically, they don't do it for me. I prefer the Series X, but not by much. It's a brick. Yod, I got to imagine that the artist in you is disappointed with both of these.
Yeah. I mean, lineage-wise, I can see where they kind of came from, because the 1 and the 1X were kind of, rectangular shaped.
Yeah.
But honestly, the first thing I thought of when I saw the Series X was not a refrigerator. It was the old Apple Airports Wi-Fi system.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But black. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I've seen that form factor before. It's not innovative. Obviously, the holes on top are for ventilation. But yeah, at least it'll stack well on the stereo system, I guess.
Yeah, it's not.
You can lay it. You have like 5 different ways to lay it on the back or all 4 sides. There you go.
Right. I mean, it's you can roll it around and stuff like that. No problem.
Don't advocate for rolling these systems around. Don't feed the Jason troll, Yod. Come on.
The speaker one, the S. The first time I saw it, I really didn't think a McDonald's speaker either until you mentioned it. I thought those 80s tape decks.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
Included speaker. It's just white instead of gray.
Yeah.
But yeah, both form factors don't really do it for me. And I know we said we'll talk about the PS4 later, or the PS5 later, but the PS4's form factor, not that it was a determining factor for me going that route, it was more all my friends were on that architecture, so that's where I went. But it is a very sleek machine.
Yep.
It does look cool.
The important part, obviously, is what the system can do. And we've already alluded to the SSDs being phenomenal.
Right.
As far as their speed of performance, their speed of write, their speed of read. The Xbox itself supports 1440, provided that the games themselves are designed to support 1440, which is a welcome piece of information for us that do a lot of console gaming and PC gaming. I know TVs generally aren't in the 1440p bracket right now, something we'll talk about when we get to the PS5. But if you're hooking this up, like in my case, they're hooked up to a monitor for streaming purposes. And so it's beautiful, being able to run Yakuza in 1440p, it just looks fantastic. The SSD, you can expand, put another one in. It's a proprietary device, though. So although it's only made by Microsoft right now, I assume they'll license that technology or that form factor technology out, Jason, at some point to other companies. But I think you're pretty much going to be in one price bracket for these when it comes to the Xbox, because there's not going to be a whole lot of competition. Microsoft's going to license it out, and a couple companies will make these things. Maybe you'll save a couple bucks here and there or catch a sale or something, but generally speaking, expanding the SSDs is going to be probably pretty price fixed for a while on the Xbox systems. That said, just generally on the SSDs, how do you feel about that, whether it's the PS5 or the Xbox, Jason? This being anywhere from, let's say, $120, $90 to $150. We'll put it nice because we still haven't seen the full white list from Sony. But that's an accessory that most of us would agree is pretty much a must-have, at least at some point, if not initially, for people that are going to buy multiple games, fill up the SSD, not want to transfer things back and forth. That's kind of a hard ask for a general console consumer, unlike us who are just like, yeah, fine, I'll buy an SSD. You know, I buy them for my PC all the time. That's more than a $16 memory card back in the day to go out and be like, yeah, you need a $130 SSD. Do you think that's going to turn off like the middle bracket of the consumer in these categories?
I think you're going to have basically two versions of people. People who are going to buy like the Series S are going to be like, yeah, I'm only going to be it for casual gaming and a few things here and there. Probably not going to be that concerned because they know they're getting a really tiny SSD. I think it's 364 gig is what I read is the usable space. If you have that, you probably aren't playing Destiny and Call of Duty or whatever.
Certainly aren't playing Call of Duty with anything else.
Yeah,
120 gig each. So you're playing Tetris. There you go. That's probably like 20 gig maybe at most. So yeah, I think there's gonna be that. And if you're getting that system, you probably know what you're getting into and are planning to do those kind of games. Whereas if you get the Series X or later even the PS5 or whatever, you're needing that bigger space. So you're expecting that maybe you're gonna have to expand on it later with another SSD. So I think that's maybe where the divide is gonna be.
The other divide that, of course, is going to weigh into this is the games. Particularly if you want them to buy the system right now, then you have to look at the launch window, not the launch year or the launch 2 years. If you're trying to get off to a very, very good start, there is just absolutely no debating the fact that high-profile IPs, whether they be console exclusive or not, and then right behind that exclusive titles as well, that's what moves units. And frankly, here, I think the Xbox is off to a horrible start. They're off to a horrible start, in my opinion. They lost a lot. I mean, they have big titles, right? You got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, games like that, but they're also available on the PS5 and on the PC and things like that. They lost Halo. They lost that.
That's a big blow in my opinion. I mean, like I said previously, I am a Sony preference, but we do have an Xbox One in the house because of Halo. Halo is a game that the wife enjoys playing. I enjoy reading up the lore on it and stuff. So Halo Infinite, that is the one that was coming out, right?
Yeah.
Infinite?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looked like an interesting extension to what they had. I wanted to see where they were going, even though the graphics weren't very impressive.
Yeah, to say the least.
So to say, yeah. They definitely need to go back and, hit the final render button on there before releasing those, but yeah.
The delay, I think that title's delay really hurt, Jason, and now they've lost their second director too. Like, I have actual concerns about that specific title, even just beyond being delayed from the launch window, Jason.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I haven't never bought an Xbox is because, like you say, they rarely have like exclusives. Make me go, "Oh, I got to get an Xbox. I have to get that, or I'll never be able to play whatever." Because
nothing you can't pick up later.
Yeah, I can't pick up later, or usually it's gonna be on PC because basically kind of like Microsoft Xbox and sort of a Microsoft PC or whatever, or it's maybe gonna be on a PlayStation. When I had a PlayStation, I get that too. So yeah, and Xbox has always been much more of a, maybe less so now, but I know early on it was like considered the shooter console or whatever, which had Halo and that sort of stuff.
Right.
So
PlayStation had the JRPGs.
Yeah, exactly. That was definitely more my style back then. So yeah, not having that as much has always kind of steered me away from an Xbox. So yeah, the fact they don't have a whole lot of console exclusive, a whole lot of launch exclusives is probably just kind of normal for them, really. They shouldn't be
Yeah.
that surprised by it.
Yeah, it does. It does definitely hurt a little bit. Now they do have exclusives coming. They have announced a number of different exclusives. Any of them get you fired up? Because I'll tell you what, I'm really watching Avowed from Obsidian Entertainment. You know me and RPGs, so you probably could guess that this was one that I was looking forward to. Definitely one that I want to get, and day one it'll be on Game Pass, which hold your thought on that, because we're talking about the limitations of titles available. We'll flip this around a little bit and give the Xbox a little bit of credit when it comes to the Game Pass. I think we'll all agree there. But title-wise, I'm really looking forward to Avowed. I like Obsidian Entertainment. Let's do, a first-person RPG that isn't an Elder Scrolls? Yeah, let's try it. Why not? So I'm all on board for that. Jason, any particular title you've kind of been keeping an eye on?
I mean, Avowed does look cool to me, and that's something I definitely would have an interest in if I ever did get an Xbox. Otherwise, I looked through a list of here's all the launch exclusives, and I was like, yeah, whatever. It's a shooter, it's an RPG, it's the same sort of thing. Yeah. So I tried to find something that I thought was at least would be the sort of thing that would maybe get me interested. And the one that kind of looks intriguing to me is 12 Minutes.
Yeah.
Which, if you've seen that, I've never seen the videos for that at E3. How it's like this top-down view of a guy and his wife in an apartment. Some violent thing happens, so people bust in and shoot people or whatever. Then it's the time loop back through it again. So that looks interesting to me. I wonder how that plays and what the gameplay loop is to that, and whether it can be actually something interesting enough to keep you occupied for hours like you expect a console game to do. That's really the only thing.
There's some
other than
high-profile people on that one too.
Yeah.
Actor-wise, like Daisy Ridley from Star Wars, Willem Dafoe. I mean, that dude will do anything these days, I think.
Pretty much.
He's in like everything. I'm pretty sure he was my Uber driver the other day. He's fucking Willem Dafoe. I see you everywhere. James McAvoy. So some high profile names in that one. And I have a feeling that one, Jason, has the propensity to maybe get really dark. Really dark. You don't want to be, I think, in a bad mood when you play that one, because it's not going to help. Yod, anyone you're looking forward to besides Halo Infinite, I guess?
Yeah,
if they can dig out of that hole.
Right. That was kind of the few. Recently, I did see something on Bright Memory Infinite, and I think that has a limited amount of time on the Xbox. It's just like a release date difference or something. Not really
a timed exclusive.
Right. So that's the only other one that I was looking at, but it'll come out on PC as well. So it's not like it's that exclusive to Xbox.
Well,
that was the only.
We've given it a bunch of shit for kind of maybe losing on the original on the actual launch window, from now till Christmas. Plenty of titles coming from January through like June or July. We're seeing most of them be announced. But credit where due, the Game Pass is just freaking phenomenal. I can't express enough how much I think Game Pass is kind of a game changer for the Xbox system. So you've got basically two different bundles, a $9.99 bundle for the console or a $9.99 bundle for the PC if you prefer to play there. Minor differences between the two, though, by the way. They're not exactly the same as far as what titles are available and when. Like Destiny 2 is on the Xbox One, is not on the PC one. So you do have to kind of look at the title list. Or you could just do $14.99 a month, and not only does that cover your Game Pass, but it also covers your Xbox Gold, your Xbox Live Gold membership too. So, yeah, mathematically, it was kind of a no-brainer on my side. And I expected, Jason, I heard, all these different titles were going into Game Pass, and, okay, that's great. That's a big grab for them. Then when we launched it up Tuesday night and actually looked through it, I was like, holy shit, there are a lot of titles on here, and there are a lot of recent titles on here. This was not nearly as, let's give you the stuff that's 8, 10, 12 months old and beyond and older and put it all in a free pass here. I'm very happy with my $15. Well spent. And there's even discounts on the games if you want to buy them, so that if at some point you don't do Game Pass anymore, you still have those games, but you bought them at a discounted rate too. I think it's really intelligently done. I want to see them keep adding to it, of course, because it's just nothing but value. But if you know, Netflix for almost current games, and in some cases, brand new games.
Yeah,
I
your
was
favorite is
surprised
Battlefield
with that.
1, right?
What's that, Jason?
Your favorite is Battlefield
My
1.
favorite is Battlefield. Yeah, it's my absolute
Oh
favorite.
my god.
My absolute favorite.
But now it makes you wonder though. Okay, they're all new now, but in 8 to 12 months, are they still going to be? How good are they going to be at adding stuff to it? Is this a get you involved now? You know, when the console is new and you're going to be booting it up for the first time, make sure you get that subscription or whatever. Are they going to keep doing that with newer games as the console goes on? Which
That is a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it because they're, games that were made for Xbox One and not specifically for the Series X that they're available there, even though they're new?
Yeah.
Will eventually, when Halo Infinite comes out, will that be available on there?
Tarkov asking in chat, do they take games off the pass? Yes, they do. They do take games off of the Game Pass, and even if you have them installed on your console itself, you would not be able to play them once they're taken
So
off of the Game
it
Pass.
is literally like Netflix.
Yeah, it is Netflix for video games. The only difference is you're actually downloading it, not streaming it. It's not cloud gaming or anything like that.
Okay.
To be clear about functionality there. Still, I look at it this way, particularly in my case. I'm going to spend, I don't even know what Xbox Gold Live is anymore. I think it's either 50 or 60 a year. I can't remember which of the two. But if I'm looking at that, let's say it's 60. I think maybe it's 50, but let's say it's 60. All right, so that's $5 a month for a year. If I spend $15 a month, I have access to all these games on demand whenever the hell I want. Download them, play them. And if I really think, you know what, this isn't a value anymore, you can go ahead and buy the game quickly before it goes away. They do warn you, by the way. There's actually a whole section on like games leaving soon. So you do know, you know what, maybe I should shell out $22 for that $30 game and buy that real quick. I've had a blast with that, and I don't want to lose that. You do have that option there as well. Yeah, I mean, I got to give the Game Pass a thumbs up. Launch went okay. I mean, console availability is still a huge concern, but it seems to be holding its own so far. Minimal problems. We'll have to keep an eye on it. It's only been a couple of days. And right now, reports are always very like, well, I heard one guy had this problem, like 9 different people I heard about it. Like, it's very hard to pinpoint if there's any global issues right now. So we'll keep an eye on them as we go. So I guess we should move over then to its competitor, which launched on Thursday, the 12th. That is Sony's PlayStation. I got to fix the color on that slide there. That's going to bother me. I actually thought I fixed that before the show. I'm not quite sure why that's going to bother me. Anyway, the PS5 launching on Thursday. We did a unbox and setup for that as well, too. One last note, I guess we should say, Jason, on the Xbox was we were up and running in minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were.
very quick.
It was very, very quick.
It was plug and play.
Yeah, it was based. There we go. I did fix the colors. Streamlabs had cached it. Basically plug and play. PlayStation 5 we got on Thursday, so let's kind of run the gamut of exactly what we talked about with this one. Let's start with form factor. I think let's get that out of the way with this one. Okay. And by the way, the availability on the PS5 is in my estimation substantially worse than the availability of the Xbox right now. The availability of both isn't great. There's a lot of online ordering only in a lot of cases, but the PlayStation's kind of been a nightmare to try and grab, more so than the Xbox, at least from my personal Twitter feed. Anecdotal evidence at best, I know, but whatever. So let's take a look at form factor, Jason. I'm going to let you talk. I'll get out of the way so people can see this damn thing real quick.
I mean, of the three that we're dealing with here, this one actually looks like there was some design that went into it, as opposed to a big black cube or a big white cube or cubish thing with a speaker strapped on it. So I mean, if I had to just choose strictly based on appearance, if I was that shallow, and I was choosing a console just based on appearance, this would definitely be my favorite. And I know there's a lot of criticism, but like I said, I mentioned the ice cream sandwich look to it.
That's what I call it, the 12-pound ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, it looks vaguely sleek. It makes an attempt to be attractive. It's at least it's trying. It's putting on some nice makeup, dressing up a little bit. So the other two look like they're just hanging out on your like Xbox gamers, just looking like they're hanging out on your couch wearing sweats or whatever.
This one's a chonky boy. And we knew that going into this. We've seen
big boy can look good too.
Yeah, of course. We knew that going into this. We had seen the graphics where it was the biggest console ever compared to all of them, right? PS2, you were like, wow, that's pretty big. Yeah, it is a chonky boy. It weighs quite a bit. Like I have 3 cameras set up to do different streaming things, and the tabletop camera I was using for the unboxing, like I would have had to mount it on my ceiling for it to have adequately put the entire unit in frame. I had to keep moving it over here so that people could see it. It's a big, chonky boy, and I really didn't care for the form factor at first, but it's kind of been growing on me, actually. I wish, and maybe this is stuff we'll be able to do later, there's already talk of the plates are easy to come off, so you could probably, paint them or decal them if you want, or 3D print totally different plates if you wanted to. I'd like to be able to change the blue colors underneath, the almost RGB except just B. It's RGB without the RG. It is growing on me though, Jason. I do like it. One thing, both of these consoles, they pick up fingerprints like you wouldn't believe. The Xbox, I swear there are people that have visited my house once 8 months ago, and somehow their fingerprint floated out of the air finally and landed on these things. The black glossy part of the PlayStation 5, just unboxing it, and I was staying away from touching it, just had so many. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, you need to just wear gloves or wipe these, because I swear to God, I'm looking at the fingerprints of dead relatives at this point.
I was about to say, there's a reason for this. It's a reason for this, because we talk about how heavy these things are. They could be used as blunt instruments in a murder. And this way, if they are, they will keep the fingerprints.
Just the heat sink in the PS5 could be used as a blunt instrument.
There you go. This was their plan all along.
All right, we give it to the artist for the final say on form factor.
So, yeah, definitely someone thought about it. Somebody thought about, let's make this look interesting.
And that poor person, that poor artist, Yod, was like, oh, by the way, you have a 9-pound heat sink that you have to work around.
Right. And I mean, for the life of me, when I first saw it, even when you took it out and, it was massive and, you were doing your exercising with it and all that stuff, I thought for sure that disk drive would be on the top.
Nope.
For some reason, I thought it would be, when you put it on the stand, it would be on the top. But no, it's on the bottom, which is weird.
It is.
But, yeah. And I do give it to the fact that somebody thought about this and had to design it, as opposed to making it a brick. For some reason, the lines on it reminds me of a 70s Oldsmobile. I'm not sure why.
Like curved tail fin type, the back ends and stuff. Yeah.
The door paneling and stuff, where you have that extra little indentation line for the disk drive. I don't know. Yeah, for some reason the smooth lines and the sweeping motions of it looks very 70s Oldsmobile to
me. I give it a thumbs up. I give this one a thumbs up.
Design-wise, design-wise, somebody thought about it, and I would definitely like it more if it was completely black. I don't like the white ice cream sandwiches on the side.
I thought so too. I'm glad, after seeing the centerpiece pick up fingerprints the way it's doing, I'm glad the damn thing is not all black. But I am going to watch the white to see, does it get dingy and stuff after time.
Right.
I have a white PlayStation 4 that hasn't, so, it's not like I'm sitting here moving this with my hands all the damn time or anything, but
it all depends on the plastic mixture, because these models I have back here, some of them come in white, and because of the plastic mixture, if you leave it out in the sun for long enough, it will yellow.
Yep.
and then you have to soak it in bleach and
Jason,
baking
like
soda.
our Super Nintendos. They were gray
Yeah.
once upon a time, Jason. Remember?
I don't leave my consoles in the sun.
Well, no, the Super Nintendo, you didn't have to leave in the sun. It just turned
No.
yellow.
Yeah. It's just the ambient light that's around that does it, and you have to pop it
With
out.
this
stuff
one,
like
we
that.
have a little bit of a different situation than we do with the Xbox.
Right.
We do have two models here. We've got the standard model, the one you see behind me that has the disc drive in it. And then if you want to save yourself $100, you can buy one without the disc drive. Now, unlike the Xbox Series X and S, there's not a technical difference as far as performance of the two units. They're valuing basically the disc drive at $100, having that in there. But that does lead to then your new system is digital only. You have to purchase your games either on the PlayStation 5 storefront or if you purchase them somewhere online via digital code. You can't use physical discs in those units. Jason, is that worth saving $100 for you?
That would be tough for me. I gotta say, I look at that and think $100 for an optical for replacing a Blu-ray drive. I've got actually, I don't know if I have a Blu-ray or I think just playing DVD on my computer. So when I bought that for that, it was like $25. So even so, $100 for a Blu-ray drive. I like getting physical games, at least occasionally. I like having actual boxes or like little plastic cases that I
I'm
snap
totally
open,
a
put
box
in the
baby.
discs.
Yeah.
I totally like that, but I just gotta wonder if that'd be worth $100 for me. I really would question whether it's going to happen. Fortunately, I wanted to make that decision. I know my roommate's going to be buying one eventually, so I'll just go off whatever he gets.
Yod, have a preference?
So for me, my PS4 that's sitting over there. 90% of the games that I had been playing on it, that I own for it, are digital. That is a thing. I do like
kids.
Well, there's only so much space in this studio. I've got like reference books and stuff all over the place. So, safe
That's
space.
what Yod calls those books with the naked ladies in them.
Yes, they are. They're reference material.
Those are all reference materials.
So I just got.
I need a picture of how a knee bends.
I just got pinged on Discord to say that we are getting a PS5 with the physical disc version. So good job, us.
There you go.
Good job, house.
Yeah. So on that note, though, because of the implications for the future, I would always like the ability to have a physical media if I wanted one. And like a lot of us have been talking and stuff online and hypothesizing and stuff like that, that because they release both at the same time, they're kind of gauging which one people will buy. And if more people buy the digital only version, they're going to use that as an excuse to move in that direction for the next console.
Sounds like somebody's been listening to my streams.
I have, but yeah, my other Discord channels and stuff, we talk about that stuff all the time too, and we came to the same conclusion that it's kind of important to let them know that we want the ability to buy the physical version from any store whenever and to return the game or sell it secondhand or whatever, lend it to a friend easily.
So it's I also think it's a generational thing too, right? Like people our age, even people a little bit younger and certainly people older, still tend to cling a little bit more to physical media than digital. We've adopted using digital, right? I've downloaded titles, no problem. But I like having the box. I like having the disc. When it's a collector's set, definitely, but even those are going digital as well. Like Final Fantasy's collector set, just here you go, and it's a Steam code in the damn thing. So even that's going there. Yod, and I've said this on many streams before, so I'll keep it short here. I don't like giving a particular company the power of an exclusive storefront. We already see that with iOS and Apple and Epic trying to fight the good fight there, even though they're not really fighting the good fight. Different topic. Go watch the free-to-play cast on MMO Bomb. We've talked about that plenty.
Times.
I do worry that the numbers of these sales are going to be used to justify an online only console, which, by the way, Microsoft tried to do in the last generation. Don't forget that. They were already trying to make that happen. And then I do like the aspect of resaleability. Like if I get an upgraded PS5, with the 8 terabyte hard drive 2 years from now, I like being able to sell this to somebody and, any discs they have, they can work as well. So there's a lot. I can understand the appeal for somebody that, maybe like some of one of my sons is very digital game. The other one does buy physical more than digital just because he takes after his father and wants to collect those things. But I understand the appeal. I just kind of see down the road, and I don't like that road. So for me, with the drive all the way.
Yeah, this like you said before, the special edition stuff. I like getting stuff like this, like this flash drive that came with the StarCraft set. It's a neat little addition that just hangs around on your desk or whatever. But
yeah, but there's nothing on that front though. There's nothing stopping them putting together a little digital collector's set where there's a physical goods and a digital code in it. So I don't think that necessarily goes away. But
the game is still, hefty
this
there.
goes away. This.
Yeah.
And
right.
I like the smell. I like the feel. I like the sound. Jason mentioned this. Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah.
You have a little sound when you take out the disc, a little clicky there.
Yeah, a little clicky. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, we got to move on with the PS5 here. So let's talk a little bit about what it does that maybe the Xbox doesn't. We already mentioned 1440p or 1440. Yeah, 1440p. We have talked about the SSD in this one as well. This is expandable as well, but it's not proprietary technology. So we're going to see a whitelist from Sony of all these different companies because you do have to be careful on read-write speed here to make sure you get a compatible SSD for it. But you can add an additional SSD to this machine as well, and it's not any proprietary shape or slot or memory card shape or anything like that. So this is one that I think we have a little more flexibility. We'll see companies kind of vying for a little bit of this business. We'll see them on sale a little more often, so you might catch it a little cheaper than you will catch it on the Xbox. I do have to mention, you can hook up an external to this as well. But you can't run PS5 games from the external, and you can't archive PS5 games to an external HDD if you have one hooked up. It just won't do it. Now, that is something that I would imagine they're probably going to fix in a patch because that starts playing with bandwidth concerns for consumers. When you download a 50 gigabyte or 100 gigabyte game, you're not going to play it for a while. You want to archive it to a hard disk drive for a little while and then bring it back to your SSD. You don't want to re-download that damn thing to the SSD later. So there are some limitations there that you need to be aware of as far as when you take something to an external, what will play and what won't. PS5 games will not. There is also the concern of the SSD, the primary SSD, being soldered to the board and that having the operating system. Right now, there's no way to move, to my knowledge, and if I'm wrong, put it in the comments below, to move the operating system to an SSD that you installed. I assume that's going to have to be a feature that comes because although it's unlikely the SSD would go bad, they do occasionally, and I don't want the SSD going bad to brick my damn system. That's stupid. So there's some concerns there that maybe they should address. And Sony's going to. They've already said there's no reason we can't do 1440, but we're aiming at the TV market. That's our consumer. That's our primary consumer. But if enough people pitch a bitch about it, we might go ahead and change that. That's no big deal. So I would assume at some point 1440 is coming. I'm
just going to
go ahead.
PS5 Pro. That's what I'm going to assume.
There you go.
That's going to be their upgraded hardware. They're going to give you all the bells and whistles, and they're going to make you pay an extra $100.
Yeah, when that comes out, Mike, you can buy that, and you're going to maybe sell me your old one for $100.
Yeah, for $100, just give it to you for $100 and a can of Coke. Now this we do
Oh,
have
that's too much. No, you're not getting a Coke with it. It's just $100.
on the
Not even a damn.
On the PS5 front, we do have exclusive titles making the launch window. I've got a couple of them here. We started the streams with Godfall. I've also got Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Demon Souls remake, of course, that was a big one as well. There's others, a nice little launch library, kind of a little something for everybody. We ended up getting Astro's Playroom. Yeah, Astro's Playroom free with the purchase, so that's on the system. And I just found out today, I didn't even know this, today or late last night when I was messing around with it, I forget what it was. I got Bug Snacks for free, too, for being a PSN member. So that was one of the free games as part of PSN, was Bug Snacks. So lots of different exclusive titles going in all kinds of different directions here. Obviously, I'll start first, Jason. The one I was most interested, I'll put the trailer up here so people can watch it, was Godfall. It is a grabber-stabber, in your words. Think Warframe or Destiny 2, that kind of doing the same things over and over again, getting better and better loot and customizing your character and putting different skills and points and skill trees and do this and over and over and over and better and better loot. However, unlike those services, it's not a game as a service. It is the box. You know, the story isn't all that long before you get to end game, which is where these types of games really begin for, you know, whether you like that or not. Kind of getting mediocre reviews right now. In reading a lot of the reviews, watching a lot of reviews, there's nothing that anybody's saying that I disagree with. You know, it's their problem. They don't like the grinding and stuff. I just feel like some of these reviews, a lot of them are maybe written by people that expected more. And I wasn't somebody that expected more. I expected a grindy looter shooter, except being in melee combat. And yeah, that's what I got. I got a game that doesn't do anything new. I will readily admit that. The combat is very God of War. The looter aspects, we've seen it. PSO2, Diablo 3, you know, Warframe, Destiny 2, the original Destiny, Division. Like, if you like those games, there's probably a chance you're going to like this one. The art style might turn some people off, but that's a personal preference thing. You know, I expected just a solid performing game that wasn't a game as a service, and they're going to sell me expansions occasionally. Great. I'm all for it. In playing it, and I've only gotten 2 nights at it, I'm going to play it while this process is on YouTube tonight. I can't wait. I am very much enjoying swapping weapons, messing around with different weapons and things like that, because they all do feel very, very unique in the way that they perform and the different combos that you can do. It's kind of mindless fun for me. You know, I'm not playing it because I want to get wrapped up in the story. I'll play World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV for that. But this was the title that I was looking most forward to at launch. What about you, Jason?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I when I was looking at the stuff for Godfall and I was looking at all the trailers and whatever, I was just like, man, that looks pretty but shallow, I guess is my thought.
Yeah.
And just watching you play it is maybe to go, yep, I don't have any interest in playing that. But, you know, I don't know. I can understand why it's getting the reviews it might be getting. So,
No, yeah, and I
anyway.
totally understand. You know, if you're and they're rating it, nobody's rating it like 2 out of 10 or anything, but it's getting
No.
6s and 7s, right where,
Yeah.
you know what? If you were
It looks like a
expecting,
6 game to me.
yeah, it looks like a 6 or a 7, and I enjoy those. You know, Diablo 3 a little more than somebody else does, and so I might give Diablo 3 an 8 or a 9, and you give it a 7. I probably, yeah, I would say it's fair that it's a 7. Maybe I'd give it personally an 8. I do enjoy the art style a little more than some other reviews might. I like these types of games, not as my primary sit-down game, but as my, you know, let's just go beat the shit out of things and see if I can get that ring to drop that hasn't dropped. And you know, I don't mind that type of stuff. It is multiplayer to a certain extent. You can do parties of 3. However, this is a PS5 timed exclusive on the console side. It's available on PC on the Epic Game Store. There is no crossplay between the two, so you got to make sure that you pair up with your friends, at least right now. Hopefully that's something that's coming. But think Warframe. Like, if you never put matchmaking on in Warframe and you just play the entire game solo, you could do that here too. The matchmaking is, you know, if you want to take on the more challenging stuff, maybe bring a friend. But you could play it all yourself if you want.
Yeah.
The wife, Yod, what was there? Was there one that you were looking for? Oh, Jason, you didn't answer. I'm sorry.
I still didn't even answer the
Yeah.
question.
Sorry.
It's not a proper show if I don't shit on at least one game, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if we're gonna go back to like 1996, which was when I had to decide if I wanted to get a Nintendo 64 or a PlayStation 1. The reason I went with PlayStation is because it had Final Fantasy 7. I was going to get Final Fantasy 7.
Fair.
That was the reason I did that and became more of a PlayStation fanboy than any other console out there. So getting away from the Final Fantasy series for a while, but coming back and playing 15 on 4 and liking it a lot, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to now. If I ever do get a 5, we get a 5, is getting Final Fantasy 16 at some point. Because
that's going to be exclusive for a little bit.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, maybe Xbox at some point, it says. So yeah, that is definitely something I really would want to get. There are a few others I want to get. Maybe we'll talk about those later, but that's the primary title that if I was going to get a PS5, I'd get it probably for that.
Yod?
Yeah, I was looking at Godfall as well. I was watching the lore videos and stuff like that before it came out, and it is really cool, and I think I can, get into the whole rhythm of picking it up and playing it.
Well, you're a big Destiny guy too.
I am. Yeah, I played the original Destiny. I think for my total play time was like 3 or 4 months or more. Like the hours when you look up what is it, whatever website you look up to see how many hours you played on the game. I think mine added up to several months worth of playtime on the original, and it was only slightly less for Destiny 2. So yeah, the looter shooter type deal appeals to me, and the look and feel of Godfall is really slick, and what I saw of when you were playing it, it is so pretty.
It is. But don't expect, to be fair, like to Jason's point, it looks a little more shallow than something like a Destiny.
Right.
Presentationally in game, to be fair, it is. There's cutscenes here and there, but theirs is more. If you think like back to Destiny 1, not as bad as this, but where most of the lore was not presented in game, and what you think of that doesn't matter. That's your personal opinion.
That would be my problem with it.
This is go read the codex, but unlike the original Destiny, the fucking codex is in the game, at least. It's not a separate website.
No, was it? Was the Grimoire a completely different website? I thought you could access it through the game.
Not initially.
It's been so long.
Not initially.
It's been so long. Wow. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, we were joking about it on chat that, oh, no, look, another Grimoire card. And that kind of gets me a little bit. I would rather have them actually tell the story to me, especially since it's a, it's a complete game that they've sold you, as opposed to I don't know why, and it shouldn't be this way, but a live service thing seems to have a little bit more flex on how much they're giving you, because they'll update it continually and it'll kind of, mutate as it goes.
Yeah, I mean, they're really hoping that Marvel Avengers mutates into something playable.
Oh my god! At least it's not Anthem.
With the mutant powers, not the Avengers.
At least it's not Anthem, but that's I know Faye loves that game still. But
yeah, Demon Souls. I didn't have a chance to play it yet. Demina, my wife, was playing it though. Looks very. Just absolutely astounding. It's just so beautiful, so beautiful. I haven't had a chance to play Sackboy yet. I did spend some time last night doing some platforming in Astro's Playroom, which was very cute and nostalgic as you collect different parts of PlayStation 1 history, PlayStation 2 history, PlayStation 3 history.
Cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. But yeah, So overall, this is early. We're talking days. But overall, I personally, although I love both systems, I give the edge right now to the PlayStation. Not just looking at it from I cover video games and who do I think has a better foothold and position as of today. I'm talking about personally, the PlayStation 5 I think does it a little more for me right now than the Xbox. Not by much, though. The Xbox, Yakuza is a lot of fun. I streamed that on launch day. That is tremendous. I can't wait to get back into that. My character's still in jail. We finished the prologue or Act 1. Destiny 2, been streaming that over on mmobomb.com from Beyond Light on the Xbox, and that is just incredibly beautiful. And it's not even the PS5 version. The PS5 version of Destiny 2 doesn't come out until December 8th. So I'm playing the PS4 version on the PS5, and I think that's where we should end with the PlayStation portion of this. Is they got that whole backwards compatibility thing really going for them. And to be fair, Xbox does too. But I think just PlayStation has the better library for people that have been gaming as long as we have, maybe. And maybe that's a personal preference. Maybe you think differently.
But that's another reason you need a disk drive for
Absolutely.
backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
I think it's much like the design. They thought about it a little more. It's just that
That's fair.
extra little bit of let's do this little tweak here that the Xbox didn't.
Yeah, basically on the Xbox side of things, your backwards compatibility is near 100%. The only ones that don't are things that require the Kinect. Those aren't good. On the PlayStation side of things, it's not quite as high percentage-wise yet, but it's getting there. It keeps inching closer and closer, looking back at the games. As a PSVR player, by the way, I should note, and I did bring this up on stream, the PSVR does work on the PlayStation 5 with a huge caveat. It cannot work with the PlayStation 5 camera, and the camera is needed to track the helmet's movement. So you have to use the PlayStation 4 camera. Okay, fine. You probably already have that because you have the PSVR. However, the PS4 camera does not actually hook up to the PS5. You need an adapter to make that work. Sony does give that adapter away for free, but you got to go to a website and order the damn thing if you want to use your PSVR on the PS5. It is free. You're just going to have to enter in some serial numbers. That way they can check to make sure, nobody's claimed an adapter for this PSVR yet. So if you want to take your PSVR and put it on the PS5, you can. You just have to use your PS4 camera, and you have to file for that free cable. They haven't revealed any details about a PSVR 2 or anything yet, Jason, besides to say, yeah, we're still going to be doing VR stuff. So I would imagine we'll probably see a PSVR 2 at some point.
I'm guessing a firmware update, too, for the camera.
We'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
I give the edge to PlayStation. Jason, where do you give the edge?
Yeah, I definitely go in favor of PlayStation. But that's my natural bias, as we talked about at the start of the show.
So nothing changed your bias.
No, nothing that I've seen about Xbox. I mean, I agree. Yakuza looks neat. I'll give it that. But that's what the only thing that I saw on Xbox made me go, yeah, that would be kind of neat. But
Yod, who gets the edge?
I go with the PS5 as well, and like Jason said, the Yakuza looked really neat, but it's not like you can't get it for the PC or something later on. It's nothing that will push me to go, I have to get the new Xbox because of this.
Well, chat, you'll have to let us know what you think in the comments below, whether that's on YouTube or over at ReadyCheckRadio.com, and comment under the videos there. Who's winning right now? Who has the better position right now? We'll, of course, review this every couple of weeks as we talk about new and upcoming releases in the world of gaming, whether they be PS5 or on the Xbox. Now, before we leave you today, we're going to introduce everybody's favorite segment here. We're going to give you, we've got segments that end the other two shows. We wanted one for this show. So here's what we do here. We're going to give you, all three of us are going to give you, the viewer, a game of the week. Now, this doesn't have to be our favorite game ever. This doesn't have to be something we're playing every single day. This can just be the game of the week. Hey, you know what? If you haven't tried this game, go try this game. Your job in the comments is to tell us who gave the best game of the week recommendation. Which host gave the best game of the week? And we'll put a Twitter poll up for this one as well, unlike what we do with the other two shows. You'll have to check those shows out for that one. Yad, we'll start with you. What is your game of the week for episode 1 here of Gaming Gumbo?
So it's all games, right?
Anything you want.
Yeah.
One game.
Okay. Just one, or can be a series?
No, you got to give one game that you're saying, hey, guys, if you haven't played this, I think you should check this out this week.
We got rules here, man.
Yeah, rules.
God dang it.
Did you watch last week's show?
No, there was a president thing going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The game that I've played the most for the past few years has been Destiny. Destiny 2, past couple years, and I think it it has the potential still to be something good. And if you're a constant grinder, you'll be fine with it. It burned me a little bit with the season things, but the Beyond Light thing is kind of making me want to fall off the wagon.
Yeah,
and
damn it,
buy
Jason.
the
He
next
went
one.
ahead and picked a game that just had an expansion drop this week.
Well, that's why it's
I-
your game of the week. That makes sense.
Right?
Nothing wrong
I
with
mean,
that.
it's on my mind, and
Yeah.
I want to hit the button and go buy Beyond Light. So
All right, so
I
Destiny
understand
2
it's
is
not- yeah.
Yods. Jason, what's yours?
So we talked about earlier in the show how I bought my PlayStation because I wanted to get Final Fantasy VII way back when. So of course, when Remake was announced and all the stuff we've been seeing about that, I watched the videos and so forth and was like, yeah, that looks neat, but I just don't know if I'm going to get into it as much as I got into the original, because I'm going to know the story. It's going to feel drawn out because I knew it was just the Midgar stuff, which was like 6 hours in the original game. Yeah, so my roommate got it a few months ago. He played it himself on his PS4. So I finally, a couple weeks ago, decided to bring it down in the basement here and play it myself. And I've really been liking it. I'm surprised at how much I've really enjoyed it. How it's not just a graphical update. How it really has a lot of interesting, additional expanded story. Feels a little drawn out at times, but I think they did an overall pretty good job. So if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan who's still on the fence about whether or not you want to get that, I would recommend picking it up to see what it's about.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and lose this week. Right off the bat, my co-hosts picked Destiny 2 and the Final Fantasy VII remake.
You
What do you
did.
think?
You said it had to be one game. I
I
was gonna say
know.
the Mass Effect trilogy, but
Yeah, something I'm sure we'll talk about in an upcoming show
Yeah,
here with their
yeah,
announcements for N7 Day.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and give my vote to Godfall. Game of the week for me. Pretty sure it's not going to beat Final Fantasy VII Remake or Destiny 2, because god damn
Now
it.
you're making me feel bad.
And to be fair, gang, none of us knew what the other one's choices were. But that will always be the
No.
case, that we will not know what game the other ones are going to bring up. So,
What if we each pick What if we pick the same one?
right.
oh, well, then we have two winners that weekend.
All right.
Two winners that weekend. Before we sign off, remember, if you're not watching this live here on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, please head over to ReadyCheckRadio.com. Follow us on YouTube, follow Twitch, Twitter, all of Facebook, Spotify, all that fun stuff. Because not only do we have 3 different shows running now, but we also have an entire team of streamers doing wonderful content, whether it's a console game, a PC game, an MMO, a single-player game, party chat, group stuff, community games as well. We'd encourage you to come on by, hang out. We have things at all different hours. There's a schedule right on our Twitch page and over on the website itself. In fact, coming up right after this show today, so chat, hang tight, we've got Torchwick. How are you, Torchwick?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. You're going to be going live with Games Older Than Me every Saturday after this show. Tell us, what's that about?
Well, it's right there what it says on the tin. Games older than I am. Hopefully we'll have some fun, play some classics, and if we're lucky, I'll make some of you feel old along the way.
What are you playing tonight?
That doesn't take much.
Tonight is Final Fantasy 6 or 3 US Western release, depends. But this is the 3rd stream for me, so we're quite a bit in. Game of many voices,
But
not all of which I can do.
But this is the first time you've ever played Final Fantasy VI. Like, this is your
Yes.
literal first playthrough.
Yep,
And you did suplex the train.
of course. I know the meme.
All right. Stay tuned for Torchwick taking over after this stream, giving you some Final Fantasy VI. He'll be the streamer right after Gaming Gumbo every Saturday when we do the show at 7 p.m. Eastern. He'll be going live after that. So there you go. First episode in the bag, gentlemen. Thank you so much for hanging out, reviewing the new consoles with us. Until next week, Yod, where can everybody find you?
You convinced me to get a Twitter.
I did.
So I have Yacht Artworks. You know, at Yacht Artworks on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Same thing. Yacht Artworks. YADARTWORKS. Anywhere it says that, that's where I am.
Jason.
I'm gonna make an OnlyFans with Yacht Artworks now.
Oh God.
But until then, you can find me on Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
Sticks, you're too nice, putting it all in chat for us. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally there, right there on Twitter at MagicMan1. But more importantly, make sure you follow RC Radio so that you can come and hang out with us. Until next time, stay safe, stay on the servers.